Good morning, everyone. It's again that time of the week, Sunday, 22nd December, 6 minutes past 9. We have three wonderful presenters, Shrishty Agarwal, CA, Pallavi Agarwal, and Ritu Sharma. Is my voice proper, or is it breaking? Because I'm not able to hear it.
It's proper, ma'am.
It's okay,
Very
ma'am.
clearly heard.
Okay. So they're going to present to us the book review of the book, The Power of Habits. Talking about the presenters, Shrishty Agarwal, of course, was one of the first presenters in the very first book review. Shrishty Agarwal has been a co-founder of YouTube channel Unicom with 90,000 subscribers. That's definitely an achievement. She's a professional speaker and trainer, and she has been associated with ICAI since 2018. CA Pallavi Agarwal, as I know her personally, she's the one who doesn't give up. She's a highly accomplished and seasoned chartered accountant based in Lucknow with more than 15 years of experience. She is a committed and determined person. She has specialized in various areas such as IFRS, foreign protection, as well as arbitration and mediation. She holds certification as an anti-money laundering specialist and an ISA auditor, and is a qualified peer reviewer. Coming to Ritu Sharma. Ritu Sharma is a freelance trainer and speaker. Uh, she's very vibrant and definitely, the one who doesn't give up. People who bother us, who bother her, she has learned to overcome all those difficulties and come ahead in life. Of course, myself, this is Dr. Sandhya Patil. I'm trying my best to present, to get the reviewers to present each week a wonderful book. And I know they are doing a great job, but I think I still do not let them sleep. So hopefully this time you all see a wonderful presentation. The stage is to Srishti, Pallavi, and Ritu.
Hello, everyone. A very good morning. I hope this Sunday morning brings something really, really important and productive to each one of you. As we are going to spend our 90 minutes here, I wish that I, along with my co-presenters, bring something remarkable to you via this book review. Once again, a very good morning. I request each one of you to please put on your video cameras if you are comfortable, because it really seems bad if you talk to the walls. And even if I want to demonstrate and take your 10 extra seconds, how does it feel if I talk to you like this? Of course, not very pleasant, right? That's how we are feeling when we see only your names flashing on the screens and not your beautiful faces. So I request everyone to please kindly switch on your web cameras. Now, before we dig deeper into this book review by the three of us, I would like to give a small introduction of the book. The book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, explains that habits are a fundamental part of our lives, and understanding them very deeply is quintessential if we want to increase our productivity and get the life that we really want. The author has divided the book in 9 different chapters, basically 3 parts divided again into 9 chapters. We, the 3 co-presenters, would be taking up the review one by one. The first 3 chapters would be taken by Pallavi ma'am. The next 3 would be taken by me, and the last 3 would be taken by Ritu ma'am. So let us dig deeper into what one of the best-selling American authors, Charles Duhigg, has in store for us through this book, The Power of Habit. Let us all begin the session with a beautiful smile and dedication for coming 90 minutes. The stage is yours. Pallavi ma'am, please begin. Meanwhile, I'll share the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrishti, for that wonderful introduction.
Now, let's talk about habits. How they shape our lives. Charles starts this book with powerful story that shows just how habit works. Shrishti, can you
Hold on.
next slide, please?
Pallavi, are you logged in from two devices by any chance? Any chance?
Ma'am,
Because your voice is echoing.
uh, now is it fine, ma'am?
Yeah.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Here, this book starts with a powerful story that shows us just how habit works. Here, Polly had a real illness that damaged his brain and could not remember anything and had short-term memory. But surprisingly, after his recovery, even though he could not recollect where his kitchen was located, he could easily satisfy his hunger by walking into the kitchen and opening the drawer and fishing out the jar of nuts. He couldn't remember where his house was, but after walk he never asked for the direction and reached home safely. This made doctor understand the importance of habit. The part of the brain that was responsible and for remembering things were not controlling his habit, and therefore he could perform the task easily. This hap- this helped scientists discover something important. Habits are not controlled by the part of the brain that remembers the thing. They are automatic routines that store in different part of the brain. Therefore, he could perform simple tasks easily. Next slide, please. All habits work in three-step loop. First, the cue. Something triggers into your brain to start a habit. For Polly, it was feeling hungry was the cue. The second step is the routine. This is the action you do next, like walking to the kitchen or brushing your teeth when you wake up. This could be either mental, physical, or emotional behavior. The last one is the reward, where it sends a signal to brain saying that routine is worth remembering. Since it is working well, the routine gives your brain a reward, like a happiness of eating nuts or feeling clean after brushing your teeth. This make your brain remember the habit and repeat it. The best part, when you understand this loop, you can change or create new habit. For example, if you want to start exercising, you can set a cue like putting your shoes or workout clothes near your bed. Follow it with the routine of exercises and reward yourself with something small like delicious chocolate or smoothie, whatever gives you the pleasure that feels you make you tempting. Mhm. Next slide, please. Now, as we know, habits are powerful in every part of life. Small repeated action can lead to big changes. As Charles says in the book, habits aren't destiny. They are change if we learn how they work. Or even though habits are automatically, but you have the power to control them. Uh, Next slide, please. Now we dive into how carving plays a big role in building habit. Carving are what drive our habit. They are so powerful that it drives to develop habit unconsciously, even though we don't realize it. Carr gives an interesting example of a Claude Hawkin, a man who made toothpaste popular in 20th century. Back then, brushing the teeth wasn't common in America. People just didn't brush it. Here, called advertised that brushing their teeth would improve a gloss film from their teeth and give them shining and teeth and beautiful smile. Now, here's just the fun part. The film was natural. The toothpaste didn't actually remove it, but since Claude had used a clue removing a flame and also advertised a reward, beautiful teeth. People bought the toothpaste, and it created a powerful habit loop. Next slide, please. Similarly, you can create new habit by developing a carving. For example, if you think about looking fit and healthy as a reward, your brain will make exercising a habit. Now, to carve a habit, you need a simple 3 steps. Please do a previously. Thank you so much. Slide with the heading creating new habit. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, you need to combine the 3 steps: cue, routine, and reward. Cue means to trigger the action that prompts you. The idea of removing the film from your teeth is a cue. Second is a routine. It is a behavior you perform in response to the cue. So, brushing your teeth every day is a routine. Third, reward. A bright, clean smile and a fresh breath is a reward you get. People start carving that feeling of clean teeth and feeling fresh breath is so much to begin their brushing their teeth every day. So, but this way, the sale of the toothpaste rose and became a habit. Next slide, yeah. Make carving work for you. Now, you can use this idea to build your own habit. Once the brain learns to associate the cue with reward and develop a carving, which makes a whole habit addictive. It is simple. Attach a strong carving to the reward you want. So if you put cue and reward together to get a reward, you are more likely to get what you want. For example, if you want to exercise, then the cue is that you will look and feel good. So let carving push you and put yourself in a jogging shoes every day. Now, about the golden rule of habit change. How can you quit your bad habit and replace them with the better one? Changing a bad habit isn't that easy because it is deeply rooted in your brain. But here is the good news. You don't have to completely erase it. Instead, you can change one part of your habit loop, that is the routine, while keeping the cue and reward the same. Here, the author explains with the example of alcoholic anonymous. Many people assume alcoholic drinks because they think it is being intoxicated, but often they really something else, such as relaxation, emotional release, or escape from stress. So here, AA teaches people to understand the cues and reward that drive them to drink and replace drinking with different routine. Thus, they find relaxation through the means and manage to keep a cue and reward the same. It's possible to change a habit uh, if we change a routine and keeping the cue and reward the same to make a group with the like-minded people and admit your mistake and attend the group meeting. This meeting would provide you same social reward and relief from anxiety that people might have got for going into the bar. People who join a group are able to transform your habit because they believe it is possible to change. Here, the cue is the stress and emotion that triggers. The reward is feeling relaxed and supported. They both are remain safe, but routine changes. Over a time, the new routine becomes our habit. So here, why this work? Belief is what makes the automation possible. People in AA believe that they can change because they see others succeed, and the community gave them support they need to stay consistent. Here the author explained belief is the most important part of habit change. If you believe you can change and stay consistent with the new routine, you will convince your brain to form a new habit. So how can we practically change the habit? Yeah, yeah. By simply choosing the three important steps. First, identify your cue and reward. Choose a new habit specifically. By starting your identify your cue and reward, start figuring out what triggers your habit and what habit you are seeking. Now adopt the new habit. Now adopt a new routine that gives you the same reward without the bad habit. And now keep yourself believe strong motivated that this new belief will change your habit. So, by understanding and applying this golden rule, along with believing in yourself, you actively replace bad habit with positive one. Let's take these steps together. Bad habit don't have to control your life forever. By understanding the cue and reward, driving into action, and replacing the routine, you can create lasting change. And when you combine this and believe that transformation is possible, you are on the path to a better, healthier life. Anyone can change their habit as long as they are motivated to change. Thank you so much. Now, from here onward, my co-speaker, Shrishti ji will take, Shrishti Agarwal will take ahead. Thank you so much, Shrishti.
Thank you so much, Pallavi ma'am, for telling us that what chapters, initial three chapters had in store for us through this book, The Power of Habit. And I hope we all are on the same page. Now we have understood that yes, habits are quintessential if we want the transformation in our lives. Yes, we can change our habits, and no, habits cannot be deleted. And yes, we can build new habits even if we have a memory loss. Yes, if all of you are on the same page as me, please give a thumbs up. If your cameras are on, give a physical thumbs up. If your cameras are off, give a virtual thumbs up. Yes, I'm waiting for your thumbs up because I don't want this session to be a boring one. I want dialogue, not monologue. Yes, you're not allowed to speak in between, but we will keep interacting. Now, taking this forward, what author Duhigg has in store for all of us in the next three chapters, let me take you deeper. I'm going to cover the next three chapters, chapter 4 to 6 of the book, The Power of Habit. In the first very chapter, that is chapter 4, which talks about the keystone habits, the author has said that one person, an individual, if he or she wants to change his or her habits, if you want to bring a transformation in your life, you need not change, you need not overhaul the entire schedule, you need not change everything around yourself. You just need to identify some keystone habits. Now, a question must be erupting in your minds that what, after all, are these keystone habits? Let me make it easier for you. The author has said that keystone habits are the habits which are very small and manageable, but they have a ripple effect. They have a domino effect. What is that? Let me explain this with the help of an example. See, if we exercise every day for, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe 4 to 5 times a week for 5 to 10 minutes, we are exercising on a daily basis or 4 or 5 times a week just for 5 to 10 minutes. This is a small habit. We are bringing this change in our lives. Yes, this can be a keystone habit. How? Because it is a small change we are bringing in. It is a small habit. Yes. But it does have repercussions. It does have domino effect in the sense that it can create a chain of reactions in our lives and bring positive changes and thus help us increase productivity. I hope I'm clear. Keystone habits are small manageable habits which do have a ripple effect. When we bring change in keystone habits, when we identify them, work upon them, they give us some motivation, an endorphin rush, and then a series of habits automatically gets created or built up, which brings positivity and fulfillment in our lives. So these are small changes with significant impact. 𝐸𝐻𝐿 introduces the concept of keystone habits in this 4th chapter, and he says that these are very crucial if you want to make changes in your life. So these are small and manageable, and they connect to other habits. For example, when we exercise on daily basis, we get that endorphin rush. We become happy. We feel the sense of accomplishment. And then when we come back home, and there is a plate full of brownies or pastries in front of us, then it becomes very easy for us to resist ourselves because we know that we have exercised. And because I would cut down on my calories, it would be easy for me to resist myself from eating a box of donuts, a box full of marshmallows. I would eat healthy. I would end up eating healthy. And when I end up eating healthy on a daily basis, it will reduce my mental and physical fatigue, and thus there would be less stress and more productivity. So this is how the chain reaction flows. That's why the author beautifully has narrated that the keystone habits are connected to other habits. And they open up the opportunities for further improvements. How? Because just by exercising for 5 minutes a day, you eventually built up many other good habits like cutting on your calories, eating healthier options, staying mentally and physically updated, and less fatigue, lesser stress in your life, and thus a more fulfilled life. Let's move ahead and see what the author has said about these keystone habits. The author has told us that exercising regularly leads to improved eating habits, better stress management, and increased productivity, as I already told you. He has also used a studies example, which was conducted by scholars in 2009. In 2009, a group of researchers funded by the National Institute of Health, they published a study in which 1,600 obese people were called upon, and they were given a simple task. They were asked to journal everything that they eat during one single day, once a week. I hope I'm clear. During the study, 1,600 obese people were called, and they were asked to write down everything that they ate during an entire day, once a week. Yes. Of course, it was difficult at first. It is always difficult at first. The subjects forgot to carry the journal. Sometimes they took the journal but forgot to make the entries. But gradually, many participants started keeping a record of what they ate weekly. Again, it became a habit. And then they gradually started keeping a record of their daily eatings. Whatever they used to eat on a daily basis, they used to write it in the journal. Yes. Eventually, it became a habit. Then something unexpected unfolded. And it was that this keystone habit of just writing the journal daily helped the participants to find out some patterns which they never knew that existed. Some people noticed that they always seemed to snack at around 10 a.m. So they began keeping an apple or a banana on their desk for mid-morning munchies. Others started using their journals to plan future menus. And when dinner rolled around, they ate the healthy meal they had written down rather than the junk food. So this is the case study that has been beautifully used and narrated by the author to explain the importance of keystone habits. Yes. So how keystone habits are important? They are literally very important in bringing the productivity in our lives and creating a chain reaction. This is now clear. Yes. A simple habit of just writing down the journal of what you are eating finally resulted in 25 times greater weight losses amongst people who did this simple exercise of writing their diet every day. Now, a question must be coming in your mind that how these keystone habits actually work. Yes. So the author has said that it helps in creating a sense of identity and group amongst people, and it helps you by building your willpower. We will be talking about the willpower muscle in the future slides, but let's stick to the sense of identity and sense of belongingness right now. See, the author, as my co-presenter Pallavi ma'am explained very well, that the author has said there is always a cue and a reward which is there to trigger any routine or behavior amongst individuals. Yes. He has said that the golden rule of habit transformation says you need to keep the cue same, the same old cue has to be there, the same old reward has to be there, and what you need to change is just in between thing, that is the routine. Yes, you need to have the same old cue, the same old reward, the routine, the behavior, your action has to change. Yes. So this is not always possible just by having created a habit. Sometimes we fall prey to laziness, and when the motivation goes down, then it becomes difficult for us to carry on to our routine. Yes, but we always want that reward. So there has to be a craving in your mind, in your brain for that reward. And when you have a group of people, a community of like-minded people who are also chasing the same goal as you, then it becomes a cakewalk. The author has said that in order to work upon your keystone habits, you need to have a common group, maybe 2-3 people or more, so that whenever there are times when you feel low, when you are less motivated, they can trigger you, they can boost you, and you can continue your good habits. Yes, I already covered this study that was conducted in 2009 on keystone habits. Now, how can we work upon our keystone habits? The most important part of my chapter 4. This is something that you need to do practically. The author has beautifully narrated 3 simple steps through which you can incorporate keystone habits and you can help them work for you. Step number 1, start small. I'm sure you must have heard small is beautiful. You need to start small. Choose a manageable keystone habit to begin with. For example, if you want to lose weight, just decide that you are going to exercise alternative days, maybe just for 10 minutes. That's it. Keep it simple. Step number 2, focus on one habit at a time. You need to avoid overwhelming yourself with multiple changes at once. Give me one moment, please. I'm so sorry. There was someone on the door. Yeah. So the author has said that you need to start small and you need to focus on one habit at a time. You need not overstretch or overwhelm yourself with multiple changes at once. Just focus on one single habit at a time. For example, if you want to reduce weight, then you just need to focus on exercising every day for 5 to 10 minutes. You should not change your entire routine, should not have a strict diet plan, and should not vow to yourself that you would be climbing the flights of stairs, maybe 200, 300 on a daily basis. No, you just need to take one habit, start small, and do not overwhelm yourself. And the last and the most important step, which we often forget, is to create a reward and celebrate success. Whenever you feel that you have done something good, yes, then you should reward yourself. This reward can be anything, emotional, physical, monetary. You need to set the reward for yourself and then you are done. So yes, let's move further and see that. Now we have chapter 5. I have already covered chapter 4, in which we came to know about keystone habits, why they are quintessential, how you can use them for your benefit, what are the 3 steps. Yes, now let's move further and see chapter 5, what this chapter has in store for us. In chapter 5, the author has talked about our favorite Starbucks coffee. How many of you have been to Starbucks stores and had Starbucks coffee, or you want to have it? Raise your hands, please. Raise your hands. Give me a thumbs up or raise your hands if you have ever been to Starbucks or you want to go there. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. This shows that you people are actively participating and you're not sleeping. All right. See, this chapter 5 is titled as Starbucks and the Habit of Success When Willpower Becomes Automatic. So, first of all, can we think about this positively, that willpower becomes automatic? I have always heard that willpower is something that you inherit, that you have. You cannot work upon it. But no, I realized after reading this book's chapter 5, that no, this is not so. The author, Mr. Duhigg, has very well explained that willpower is a muscle which, when worked upon on a continuous basis, is able to be, can be strengthened. So he explores the concept of willpower and what is the relationship of willpower with habit. He says that, in fact, he argues that willpower is like a muscle that can be strengthened with practice like our body muscles. Yes, I would repeat, he has argued that willpower is like a muscle that can be strengthened with practice like our body muscles. Also, the author has explained that willpower is always having an upper edge or upper hand than IQ, your intelligence quotient. He has conducted a series of experiments in which he has told that always the willpower of students, the students who had greater willpower, they were able to perform better in their studies. They always scored high. They were able to manage their cravings, and they were able to do well further in their future lives. So he has said that willpower is a muscle which, if exercised daily, which if worked upon, can be strengthened, and you can use your willpower to certain behavior ahead of time, and then following the routine with an inflection. When an inflection point arrives, you can use your willpower to build upon new habits. I'll make it simple for you. He has said that, see, life cannot be a smooth ride. Yes, it is always a roller coaster. Yes. So whenever we are on our highs, we are already having our willpowers. During those positive days, during those high Sundays, we are able to manage ourselves and we are able to work upon our good habits. But the problem arrives the moment we are low, when we lose our motivation. So when we have inflection points, when we have crisis, when we have bad days, bad moods, then what you need to do, you need to have a certain behavior programmed inside your mind. You should know that if such situation comes, if this occurs, what you need to do ahead of time. And when the same situation arrives, you recall. In fact, it becomes automatic to you. It comes automatically to your brain, and you need not even put extra mental energy to it. You just need to program your brain to use your willpower to build or construct new habits. The author has mentioned that when you decide ahead of time that how you should react to a particular cue, for example, a painful muscle or an angry customer, then you know how you should react. And when you know how you should react, your behavior, your routine, your reaction is planned. You do it accordingly, and of course, you get the reward. So willpower has a major role to play in the habit formation as per Mr. Duhigg. He has quoted that getting things down to routines and habits takes willpower at first. if you want to take to take things to your routines and build habits, at the first place, it needs willpower. But in the long run, what conserves them is the willpower. Yes. So it is very important. Now, let me tell you our favorite, something about our favorite Starbucks coffee. So this study reveals that an experiment was conducted at Starbucks. Yes. There was a study which was conducted on the Starbucks employees. A training program was designed for Starbucks employees particularly, which aimed to develop the employees' willpower and habits. The program teaches employees to manage stressful situations. For example, when there's a huge queue of customers, when in case there is a customer who is yelling at the counter, if, for an example, there is a customer who is in very much hurry, and so on. So the program, it taught the Starbucks employees to manage all kinds of stressful situations, such as a long line of customers, a tired customer, a highly expecting customer, a hurried customer, and so on. What was done was, the employees were given training that if this situation occurs, then you need to follow this routine. If situation B occurs, if the crisis B happens, you need to follow this routine, and so on. And resultantly, the productivity, the turnover, and the customer satisfaction in Starbucks grew 12 times after the experiment was conducted and the studies and the results were implemented at Starbucks. Now, what are the key takeaways? The key takeaways from this chapter 5th, if we talk about the Starbucks experiment and your willpower being used as a tool to build new habits, are as follows. There are three key takeaways that the author has mentioned. First, I want each one of you to be with me. Please listen to it very carefully. You need to have this in your mind every morning before getting up, after getting up, every night before going to sleep. Willpower is not an innate trait. No, it is not an innate trait. It can be developed and strengthened through practice and repetition. It is like a muscle which, if worked upon, will give you results, will grow. It is a learnable skill, something that can be taught the same way kids learn to do math and alphabets. Yes, so willpower is not an innate trait. It can be built upon, it can be worked upon, it can grow. Second thing is habits can become automatic. We can learn through this Starbucks employees training program example that when they were trained over and over again and again, mock drills were conducted, it became imbibed in their head that if such kind of situation occurs, then they need to perform or follow a particular routine or behave in a certain way. So with consistent practice, freeing up willpower for more complex tasks can help you. How? See, when you practice something on a daily basis, it comes to you naturally. For example, if you must have seen, I hope you have seen the promo video. Every morning we get up, and even if when our eyes are half closed, we go to washroom, we put toothpaste on a brush, with half eyes closed and half eyes open. We brush our teeth. We do not require any mental energy or effort, right? How is that happening? It is happening with consistent practice. We have been practicing this since ages, since the time when we started brushing, maybe 1 or 2 years old, when we were 1 or 2 years old. So that is what is happening with consistent practice. Certain activities, they require no mental energy. You do them unthinkingly, unconsciously, without having any mental effort. And the complex activities, other activities which require your brain energy, you can use your willpower for those complex activities. Yes. And as I have already told you, Starbucks' success rate is driven by their employee habits. This is proved by a study. The company, as we discussed, developed the new training material after that study was conducted. that spelled out routines for employees to use whenever they hit the rough patches. Yes. So they were able to do really well. Managers again and again drilled the employees. They role played the things and the situations. The company also identified specific rewards like promotion, management recognition for the employee, and so on to reward them. So this is how Starbucks employee training program worked in favor of the organization. Now, this part, that is the process of habit formation, has already been covered by my co-presenter, Pallavi ma'am, but still, I would quickly go through it. We all by this time know very well that there is a cue, that is a trigger, that makes you do something. Yes, there is a cue. Yes. And then there is a reward, that what you want. Yes. In between the cue and the reward, the connector is the routine, your reaction, your behavior, your action taken in response to the cue. Yes. For example, if I see my shoes, my morning shoes, my running shoes, as soon as I get up, that is the cue for me. The reward is I want to lose weight, I want to look better, I want to look beautiful, I want to see myself in the mirror and get that sense of accomplishment. The routine should be, what should be the routine? The routine should be that I do go for jogging, walking every day, and I exercise. Yes. The fourth point is craving. Mr. Duhigg has said that just having a cue, a reward, and a routine sometimes is not enough to keep you motivated. That is where the role of craving comes in. You must crave for the reward. You must be dying all the time to have that reward. Your brain should be dying to have that reward. You should have that craving. That brings you the motivation or the desire to perform your routine on a daily basis. Yes. For example, see this slide. Here is an old man who is getting bored. The cue here is boredom for him. Now what he wants, he's anticipating what? He wants what? Dopamine hit. He wants to enjoy his life. He wants to get out of this boredom, right? So the cue is boredom. The reward is dopamine hit. Yes. Now what he will do? He will have to behave accordingly. He will have to take an action, follow a routine, right? Maybe he can what? He can read a book's chapter, or he can go to a friend and have a conversation with him over phone, or physically meet a friend. Yes. Then what should be the craving? The craving is fun and distraction. So unless and until your brain craves for that distraction, for that craving, you will not be always able to be helped by this cue reward response formula. So always remember, your brain should crave for that thing. Yes. I hope you people are enjoying and we all are on the same page. Now, the last 5 minutes of my presentation, I need your attention, please. Chapter 6, the last part from my side, the power of a crisis. Let me explain that sometimes, as we already discussed, life can have ups and downs. Yes. When we are going through a downward phase, when we see a crisis, a series of errors, omissions, problems, blue days, then that is a moment when we feel demotivated and all our cue, reward, craving goes into vain. Yes. How many of you have experienced this? Many times when a crisis happens, personal, professional, health related, whatever, we feel devastated. And then even that poster which is stuck on a wall to motivate us, we do not feel motivated. Everything goes on the back seat and we just want to lie down on the couch, do nothing or sleep. Yes? Yes? Of course, it has happened with almost all of us. Yes? So this part is covered by Mr. Duhigg in chapter 6 from the book, The Power of Habit. This chapter 6 is titled as The Power of a Crisis, How Leaders Create Habits Through Accident and Design. The role of crisis in shaping habits. See, you need to understand that crisis can be used to create new habits. Leaders can transform the organizations. We as individuals can transform our lives through a culture of continuous improvement In case we learn from the crisis, develop a particular routine, set clear rewards, and then work upon them. I'm going to tell you quickly the Rhode Island Hospital story, the process through which we can create habits through crisis, and what is the role of leaders in this process. Yes. So the author, he has talked about the role. Yes, the author has talked about the Rhode Island Hospital story. Actually, there was a hospital located in the Rhode Islands. There was a series of crisis or errors that took place in the hospital, but the administrators, the hospital authorities, they took it positively after some time, and this series of crises prompted them to create new procedures and thus help them to create new habits within the organization, within the institute. Yes. So crisis can help you create new habits. But what is the process? See, first of all, in order to change something, you must realize that you have to identify the crisis and what is its impact on you as well as the organization. Yes. So first step is identification, and you should know its impact. The second step is communicating the crisis and creating a sense of urgency among employees. If you do not communicate the crisis, if you do not create a sense of urgency, emergency among the employees, then how can you bring the change? The employees need to understand if it is about an organization, and if it is about your own life, then you need to understand that it is important. It is really crucial. The sense of emergency should be there. Then only you will be able to design new habits. So first of all, you need to identify that there is a crisis and it is impacting you. Second, you need to communicate the crisis and create a sense of emergency or urgency. Third, you should design new habits and procedures to address the crisis. Whatever problem is there, we should design new habit. For example, if you're not able to get up early in the morning, even after seeing our shoes, right? Because something really bad happened last night, then you need to have a particular process. What could be that process? You need to have that sense of urgency that, yes, I know something bad happened last night, but then I need to get up because I want to come out of it. This is urgent. If I won't do it, it would impact me throughout the day or maybe throughout the week or throughout the month. And that would be a major loss. So there's a sense of urgency that is created in my mind when it comes to me as an individual. And likewise, there should be a sense of emergency, urgency created amongst employees before designing new habits. And then these new habits should be reinforced through repetition and rewards. Yes, I hope we are good to go. And that was all from my side. It's 9:55. I'll wind up and would be leaving you all with this question that, are you really ready to change your habits? If yes, give me a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, the session till now. I'll hand it over to my co-presenter, Miss Ritu. Please, ma'am, the stage is yours.
Okay. Right. So a very warm morning, everyone, once again. In this book, my co-presenters have already told you, the book is divided into 3 sections. The first one is meant for the individual habits, the habits of common man, you and me, individual. We just heard about the case study of Eugene, who had some injury in the brain. And despite that, the scientists were really amazed that how could someone with this kind of injury still create new habits. And then there is a talk of some students who were, put under lab conditions, and they were made to taste certain things and understand how things go. So then the second part that was taken by Miss Shrishty, that talked of the commercial facts about our habit. For example, all the merchandises, how do they use our habits? I'm taking the last chapter of the same part, in which the companies, the businesses, they use the habits that are individual to us. So the question is, how the target knows what you want before you do. Chapter 7 says, it talks about many case histories in which, we unconsciously buy certain things, whether we need them or we do not need them. So the companies predict, and the correct word for this prediction is manipulation. They manipulate our habits. They already know. See, many a times we go to the market and we buy things that we do not even need. We don't really need them, but we buy them. And how does that happen? How does that happen that you need to buy only veggies for your dinner, and you end up buying noodles, buying certain kinds of sauces that probably your brain knows already that you are a better culinary skilled person to cook some or to create some nice chutneys for your stuff, but yet we buy sauces, right? So this is manipulation. Ma'am, could you please move to the next one? So this is precisely how uh, the companies manipulate our habits. And now the point is that how do they know what you are going to do? How do they know it? So there are dedicated departments for that matter. There are departments that work on the Pavlovian theory. I hope everybody is well aware of that. I hope everyone knows it. Yeah. Please give me a thumbs up if you know that already. Oh yeah. Uh, all right. Okay. Yet I'll, since I couldn't see some of them. So there was a scientist, there was a psychologist called Pavlov. So what he did was he had used dogs to understand that how stimulus works on us. So what is the stimulus? The stimulus is, for example, Miss Shrishti was just talking about it. You see your shoes in the morning and you wear them and you go for a run. If you do not see that stimulus of shoes, if they are missing from the place, I mean, the moment you wake up and the first thing that you see is your shoes, if they are missing, the shoes are the stimulus. If the shoes are missing, probably that urge to go for a run gets killed, because all of us are lazy by nature. That is how we are. We don't want to look for the pair of shoes and go for the run. All right, this is the Pavlovian concept. So when the experiment was done like this, I'll just take 1 minute to talk about it. So there were dogs and the ringing of bell. When the bell rang, the food was given to the dogs. If the dog rang the bell, it hit the buzzer, rang the bell, the food will not come. And with the change of time, the dogs understood that their ringing of bell and the salivation that starts happening the moment bell was rung, it stopped after some time. And then when the bell was rung, and after that the food was brought to them, they realized the gap between ringing of bell and the presentation of food. So at the ringing of the bell, they stopped salivating. So, when the stimulus is there, the stimulus of shoes for the jogger, the ringing of bell for the dogs. This is the Pavlovian concept that all the companies use. And what do they do for us? What is their stimulus? The stimulus is, they realize what kind of things you buy at what kind of time. You must have seen, well, I live in North India, so we have a greater division of seasons here. So the moment one kind of weather is going to start, the markets are filled with stuff, and you sometimes look at the stuff and you realize that the weather is going to change. But in malls, in Starbucks or other companies like this, How do they work? So here is the picture that is used by the author himself to make us understand how do the companies know what you want before you know what you want. So what happens wherever we go these days, what we are doing is, I'm sorry, I need the, yes, thank you very much. So what happens wherever we go, we are filling forms. Or maybe if we are not given the form to fill, there are people who are, hovering around us and they ask for us what? What is your guest ID? Wherever you go, you are given. Nowadays, things have changed. Earlier, there were cards, loyalty cards. All right. And then they give us a guest ID, which is right in the center in the circle. And that guest ID is assessed in many ways. So when you go there, they ask for your card. The moment it is shown to the screen or the QR code is read, or maybe the barcode, that gives your ID. And with your ID, what all is associated? Your email is associated. Your online browsing history comes with the email. Then there are online cookies that tell everyone where you are, what you are looking for, and then there are online purchases, then there are online payments that you've made. All of them connect you to your ID, which is why, for example, on Amazon shopping app, if you have checked out something, all right, there is a little heart at the bottom and all that. There are many gimmicks that are being used to keep us hooked. All right. So your guest ID tells the vendor all that you are looking for, all that you have searched. You look for one pair of shoes one day and just ignore them, or maybe somebody else was using your ID to check something that they needed. Your inbox gets flooded with goods that are similar to what you had searched. So, this is statistical fortune teller. They realize that this ID, this guest ID, is looking for this kind of a product, and that kind of a product, it is flooded into your inbox. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. So, this is the economists and predictive analytics. Your guest ID gives them all the information about you. And departments use these mathematical mind readings, which are clubbed with pattern analysis to explain human behavior. For example, there is this very beautiful concept that the author Charles has used. He says that our human behavior, it is economics, and it is used by all these brands. What they do is, from your guest ID, they keep reading what kind of things you are seeking at what point of time, and you won't believe, they even guess when women are pregnant. They even guess, they can, it's not guess, they can actually figure out, they actually create patterns. This whole about 3-4 pages that Charles Duhigg has used to tell us how predictive we are, how our habits, nowadays it is a common habit to being glued to Google. And if you have noticed, all of them, whether it is Google, whether it is Samsung or Apple, all of them give you one ID. And what does that ID do? That reads you day in and day out. Where are you? Your timeline. Google Photos gives you your timeline. So what is this? This is predictive analytics, that on weekends you are generally an outgoing person, right? So the mathematics, the graphs about you gets developed, and that your activity mathematics, that is clubbed with your pattern of behavior, what you do and how you do. And these are being deciphered as shoppers' habits. And because probably on weekends you would like to go out, uh, and because you go out, so what all kind of stuff would you need? You would need accessories for your vehicle, You'll need accessories for your kids if you have searched for something of that kind, or if you have put pictures in which your family was also there. So all these activities are being deciphered, and shoppers automatically repeat this behavior, right? If last month on a weekend I had visited such and such place, and I had bought something connected with that, so probably just to be on the safer side, when I'm going back to, or maybe I'm revisiting that kind of an area, to be on the safer side, I would like to buy such and such things. And whether I want that or not, that that stimulus that is in your email, or that is on your screen off and on, the offers that we are flooded with, yeah, please shift it, no problems, thank you. So the stakeholders, you are the apple of their eyes. What do? They find out what kind of things you are looking for from your activity, and the merchandises, even the music industries, and not just that, even the government does it. The government is also doing absolutely the same kind of thing with us. There is this case study which is given by Charles Duhigg. He says, in America, when the World War One had started, so lots of food was sent to the soldiers to keep them in good health and keep them in the condition that they keep fighting. So because of which the American government was worried. The American government was worried, if the Americans are getting enough food on their tables, the young of the country, they might lose their good health because they are not getting the kind of stuff they are used to eating. So the government started off with the same cycle. That is, a cue was given, and then there was some stimulus, and finally there was a reward. So all the housewives, they were motivated to use body organs of the animals to eat instead of the food that was already, like, for example, the chicken, the pork, the beef that used to be on their platter earlier. It was needed to be, replaced with the body organs like liver, kidney, brain. So the women were motivated. Ma'am, could you please shift? Yeah, thank you. So the women were motivated so that they should create food in such a way, they should add such kind of material in the spices in the food, in cooking the organs, so that when the family members come home, they should smell the same thing. The smell should not change. And when the aroma of the food seems familiar, if you can see the picture, I've taken it from the book itself, the thing that you want to sell, this is the sales strategy, whether the merchandisers use them, the music industry uses them, or even the government. What they have done is they have sandwiched the new product between the old uh, old packing. Like we commonly say, it is the old wine in the new bottle. So that is precisely what they do, though it is a little different. That is, the old stuff is still inside and the packing is new. So whether selling a new song, new food, or a new crib, that is how the merchandises work. Sometimes, their advertisements fell apart when they sent pregnancy stuff to wrong women, because probably they bought something in between. And that buying in between was, like, I just gave you an example, that suppose I used your cell phone for a while to search if a new kind of gloves that I have in my mind, if they are available in the market. So because I've used your gadget, so probably you will be flooded with the kind of gloves, even if you live in an area where it hardly ever there's hardly ever any winter. So what they do is, they generally have the same stuff to sell, or maybe if the market has created something new. The reason that you'll be buying it because it will have something that you feel connected with. All right. Then the American government, they suggested that the aroma should be such that the family. No, ma'am, I'll tell you to shift when to shift. So the aroma should be such that the family members should feel connected with the food, and they should not realize that instead of eating their usual food, they are eating new kind of food. Before that, eating organs was not a common platter for Americans. Similarly, there was a music brand that had come up, and what they used to do was they were trying to figure out that the predictor, the fortune teller, the statistical fortune teller had predicted a song to be a big hit. They were sure that this song is going to be played everywhere all the time. But when the song came up, it was not really very welcomed. People actually said that they really hate this song. Similarly, when many men were interviewed, they said that they hated Celine Dion, the famous singer of Titanic. People did not really like her voice. Men, not people, men specifically. Pardon. They hated, they reported that they hated Celine Dion. But very smartly, it is now a trend if you pay attention to this. So the music industry, the RJs or the DJs during those days, what they started doing was they picked up one already very famous song, and then they put the new song which was expected to make new wave, but it failed. And people, when people were interviewed that how come, what is their opinion about this new song, the song is Hey Ya, if you have heard it. After reading the book, I actually listened to that song, and personally I did not like the song at all. But the statistics, the mathematics that was used, they actually they made this song a hit. And what was the strategy? The sales strategy of this music video was they used already very popular song, then Hey Ya, then another popular song. So this sandwich, one not very liked song between two famous songs, it actually created a pattern. And with the passage of time, the author says familiarity. So what did he do? What happened was they started creating a wave in which things were created in a way that that song also became familiar and people started singing it. Thank you, ma'am. Please, the next one. So this is how the companies work for us. That is how the companies use our habits. Even if there is something we don't like, they create it in a way that we start liking it. All right, now I'm going to the third part of the book, which is about how the society's habits work. So there are two beautiful mentions. I hope many of you know who Rosa Parks was. She was a negress, and she brought, of course, before her also there were many things that were happening to make a change. But with Rosa Parks, there was a sudden change in the behavior with the Negroes. Ma'am, can we move ahead? And similarly, there is a case study of Saddleback Church also. So their actions became movements. And how did they become movements? Rosa Parks was sitting in the bus when she was made to stand. She was told to stand up and vacate the place for a white woman, but she refused to do that. Ma'am, yes, let's move to the next one. It's 10:17 already. So, she refused to stand up because she was sitting in the Negro's place. And when she was arrested, all of a sudden, there was a huge movement that broke off. And what was the reason for that? Ma'am, can we go back to the next slide? I'm sorry, can we go ahead? All right. So what was the effect? Now, this effect happened because Rosa Parks was connected with many societies and many organizations. She was a friend of friend. The people who we are connected with may not take an action for us, but when people know us through someone, they take an action. When people are our casual acquaintances, they are more worried about us. When people who are neither strangers to us and nor close pals to us. So what happened when Rosa was arrested for sitting in a for not vacating a place? So, the news of Rosa Parks, who was connected with so many associations, it spread like a wildfire, and people came out just because they wanted. Ma'am, now we need to go back to the last slide. So, 4,000 Negroes, they started boycotting the bus service. And for so many Negroes to boycott, the buses ran into huge losses. There were such great losses that finally something needed to be done about this case. Ma'am, let's go ahead next and next. All right. So for an idea of connecting with each other, for a habit to grow. Now, what happened? There were pamphlets being circulated. The newspapers carried information, and it went beyond the community because it was self-propelling. People felt connected with the Rosa Parks, all right? And the surest way to achieve or to get the whole community connected with you is to so that they should figure out where do they stand when people connect with an event. The first thing is that they should know where they stand in this event, in this movement. And when people connect with that, we just saw the advertisement that 4,000 the news piece, I'm sorry, it was not an advertisement. 4,000 people, 4,000 Negroes, they boycotted the bus service. They realized that this is, and Rosa Parks was not the first woman to be arrested. Before her, many people were arrested. But Rosa could draw such an attention because she was already habitually working with many organizations of the Negroes, and she was even connected with the whites. So even whites were propelled to come and fight for her. Can we move to the next slide, ma'am? Okay, now the last chapter is, it talks about the neurology of free will. We talked about this in the promo video also, if I'm not wrong. So neurology is when we are trying to read somebody's mind. The scientists, they are doing it continuously day in and day out to understand how do we behave and why do we behave the way we are behaving. Ma'am, can we move to the next one? So who is responsible for our behavior, or for our and behavior is nothing but our habits. So there are two very beautiful case studies that of course there are more than two, but the topics are two. One is that those people who are diseased, and we do not understand that this is a disease, we take it to be a habit. For example, a habit that is being talked about by Charles Duhigg is the habit of night sleeping. So the night sleepers, I would like to know, please give me a thumbs up. How many of you understand that night sleeping is a disorder and it is not a habit? We cannot change it, right? Please. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So night sleep is a disorder. I did not know it. I really did not know it. When I read this, I read more about this disorder. So the sleep walkers, they actually, in the sleep only, they carry out almost all the activities. And for others, it can be a horrible thing also. Ma'am, can we move to the next one? Thank you very much. So, it is not a habit. And when they do something, see, there is a cue, and then there is a routine, and then there is a reward. This is a cycle which Charles is talking about from chapter 1 till the end. So the cue tells you what to do and what not to do. it is connected that the suppressed feelings, they come up when we are sleeping also. So we also have dreams, but we do not stand up and start working on the dream. But that the night walkers have a different kind of a thing. So now these are the two figures that talk about people who are habitual of something, the ones who have picked up a habit and let that habit grow. And the other one is somebody who does not take up an addiction, but understands how things work. So the cue tells you, suppose you are the case study is of a gambler also. I'm really sorry, it's 10:24. I'll just hurry through things. So there's a addict, somebody who has taken up habit and is unable to get away from the habit. So the moment she sees a gambling slot, she starts or gambling, and when she loses it, the near miss, ma'am, can we move to the next one? When the near miss thing happens, uh, an addict, somebody who is unable to control his or her habits, they would play once again. They would gamble. They would keep gambling unless they win. Because I was about to win, but I missed it. But the one who has controlled habits, the moment the ones who have controlled habits, we understand that it was near miss. We realize, oh, I've lost it, so probably I'm not going to play again, or maybe let me give up now, let me change my stand, I'm not playing anymore. So pathological gamblers are the ones who have such kind of habits. For example, the serial killers and people like them, they cannot control their habit. They get into addiction, and when this addiction starts taking its toll, the entire society suffers because of that. Can we move to the next slide, ma'am? All right. So there is this Angie Batchman. She was, she could not change her habit. And there is Brian Thomas, I'm sorry. Brian Thomas, he was a sleepwalker. So the cue was whatever was the last thing that was happening, he would in the nights get up and do that. So he killed his wife in that in his sleepwalking, and the law did not punish him for that because he did it unconsciously. But Angie Patchman, she was a gambler. Once she declared bankruptcy, and reason given was that she was habitual and she cannot control her habit, and for the first time she was given the pardon, and she was declared bankrupt and she stopped gambling. But she even changed her place where she was living. She shifted to another place where gambling was a punishable act. But unfortunately, she got into gambling once again, and she lost everything. She had a huge fortune given to her by her dead parents, but she, consumed all that fortune also. And again, when she asked for bankruptcy and she tried to sue the gambling company, she was given a punishment. She was awarded punishment, and the reason was that she could control her habits. Can we go to the next slide, ma'am? But she chose not to do that. So the society, as embodied by our courts and juries, has agreed that some habits are so powerful that they are overwhelmed. That they overwhelm our capacity to make choices, and thus we are not responsible for what we do. That is what the first decision talked about, that sometimes our habits are so strong that we can't help it. But you need to understand, you must change your habits if you want to change your life, because Angie faced very cruel laws when she for the second time she could not control her habits. Now the book ends with a very beautiful, I have quoted it from there only. You now know how to redirect that path. You should know that unnecessarily purchasing, unnecessarily gambling, unnecessary divulging of your information is not what you need. Now you have the power to swim out of this sea filled with sharks of merchandises, or even the music that we listen to, that is also compromised. I was really surprised to know that. Ma'am, can we move to the next slide? Okay, thanks. Though the time is very little, but still three of us are open for any kind of questions that you could be having. I think we can shut down the presentation now.
Yes.
Thank you, Shrishti ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Yes, Sanjay sir. First of all, thank you, Shrishti, Ritu, Pallavi. I know Shrishti has a medical emergency. She has to rush. Yet the three of you made a wonderful presentation. Sanjay sir,
Thank you, ma'am.
We have around 18 participants. Anybody has any questions? Abha, Bhakti, Bhavna, Basu sir, Dipali, Lian, good morning. Mitali,
Very good morning, Sandhya, Dr. Sandhya.
yes, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Any questions? Anybody has any questions? I personally, there was a point when Shrishti, you said, the reward. Just imagine the person comes and exercises and keeps the reward as having pizza.
So that is what the author has talked about, that you need to set the right reward.
Yes.
Right rewards.
And the second example that struck to me, you spoke about crisis. In crisis, now even if it is crisis, let's say, for example, there's a earthquake or something. For example, a motherly instinct would always be to protect her child.
Correct.
So if we can repeat that habit into something else, into somewhere else, as to how a crisis situation will not change her priorities, though she has not prepared for that crisis, but it's the instinct which always will make her respond in the right way when it comes to the child or a family.
Correct.
So we need
We
to
really
understand that.
We really need to choose our habits, especially the last one, the about societies. There are habits that are being talked about in which, like if I take the example of this Saddleback Church, sorry, I did not have much time, so I actually had to cut short. The priest realized that something needs to be done to connect people to religion. So, he actually set up the rule that people can come to church in any kind of clothes. You don't need to be in your Sunday clothes. You can even wear a Hawaiian shirt and shorts. Just come to the church and listen to the sermon. And that is how, people felt the urge to be there. Similarly, you were talking of the walker, the jogger. The reward, if you take it to be the pizza, you really need to reconsider it. You need to understand that the whole hard work of taking an hour's walk or run or whatever, it has gone down the drain. So
No, I've seen people go for in my area, people go for mountain climbing, and then they come, and then there is a juice center over there. They go and have the juice. Now that means you stuff yourself with all the sugar.
exactly.
Have a
Same
vada
here.
pav use. So what's the use?
Same here. We have two parks in Ropar. I live in Ropar, Punjab. And just next to the park, there are pizza centers and all that. People take a walk and then take a break. And what is the break? The pizzas, the nuggets, or whatever is being sold. So, we really need to. This is another reason to read this book and develop habits. That is
Here
the
I
power
can
of it.
connect. Here
Ma'am,
I
I'm
can
so-
connect the atomic
I-
habits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to add upon something here. Even I have seen many people in at my native place. There was a compound. There was a gym, and on the ground floor there were many small cafeterias and tea depots. So people had not sometimes, but every day they had a habit of going to the gym and then gathering upon that tea spot and have bread, butter, bun musk and all. But then After reading this book, I got my answer that the cue for them was to, maybe they were also seeing their running shoes and they just went off to the gym. The
Yeah.
reward for them was not to make themselves fitter or
Spend
reduce
time.
on calories or reduce weight, but it was the reward for them. The craving for them was to have fun and be with their friends. That's
And
why they went to the gym with friends and then they went to the tea depot or the cafe with friends. So there you first of all need to be very, very clear that what is your reward actually? What are you craving for?
Correct. Correct.
so
Correct.
the first part of the book, it talks about this particular fact also. Uh, you know, we keep on working hard, all right, and after spending the whole day working hard on one kind of a project, in the evening we reward ourselves with things uh, that are officially also not allowed. The book talks about of having extramarital affairs. All the people who are very influential, who are very hardworking, who have created a niche for themselves in their field, they are seen having certain habits which are, or maybe certain addictions which the society does not allow. And what is the reason? The author Charles Duhigg, he talks about it, that you must conserve little bit of energy. Agar मैं Indian, can I speak in Hindi? I think many people do not understand Hindi. So if we take it in Indian context, we are talking of evil eye, isn't it? So what we need to do is we need to stop ourselves from doing all the work. Just stop at a place, save some work which is undone, so that that feeling of I've done it. So when we are satisfied with this feeling that, oh, I have done it, then we reward ourselves. After gymming for 1 hour, we need to understand that I have achieved my goal of these many squats or whatever, and then we are rewarding ourselves with something which we should not be doing, but we take it to be okay. The chapter 6th or maybe chapter 4th talks about it, that we
Very
get
good.
so enthusiastic about it that I have achieved it, now I can do anything. And
Just on this,
that is
Ritu
where
ma'am,
the habit that is where the habit of something irrational develops, and that is how we fall into the trap of despite being a high achiever, we fall into the trap of a bad habit. Sorry ma'am, please
no,
continue.
no, what you are saying is very, very relevant, because just on this point, as per the Japanese culture, they say that eat only up to the time that you're 80% full. After
Yes,
that, stop eating.
correct.
Don't wait till you're full.
Yes,
That's the
and that
logic.
is what, yeah, that is what generally people do. We stuff ourselves, and then uh, in India, uh, kuch bhi khaiye, then eno.
Yes, Sanjay,
That's ridiculous.
you are speaking something?
Yeah, just to come in. See, my grandmother used to say 50% food, 25% water, and 25% air is what you should fill your stomach with. And
Yes.
science says it takes jolly well around 20 minutes by the time your stomach tells your brain that you are full. So
Yes.
that additional time, that 20 minutes, is what we stuff ourselves unnecessarily. Number one. Number
Correct.
two, many people go to gym to enjoy life, to remain fit and stay fit, and the indulgence. So long as you remain within 2000 to 3000 calories which the body requires, people stick to the regime. I mean, that is right, very rightly said. The reward is what you look for, or your goal is something which is very critical to set in the appropriate fashion.
Correct.
Very rightly
Correct.
said. I'm very, very insightful.
Yes.
This thing, this thing functioning with this book, and thanks to the people who have reviewed it. Thank you so much.
Just one
The
last
book
thing, because I can connect with Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits says that when there is something like, for example, if you're going to the gym, you really want to exercise, and then there are these eateries, or if you're going to a place of exercise, Atomic Habit says change the place of exercise.
correct. Yes. You need to
Change the
really
brain.
change the world.
Okay. I think with that, if there are no questions, we can end the call. Anybody else?
Just one point, ma'am.
Yes,
Can I just quickly say
yes.
something here?
Oh, yes, Rajiv ji.
Hi,
We couldn't see you.
ma'am. First of all, it was a wonderful presentation, especially, ma'am, the last speaker really connected
Oh,
very well,
thank you
resonated,
so much.
the ideas. I think, you should definitely put this on, do your own detailed analysis and put it on YouTube. I think you connect very well. And
Thank you so much, sir.
I think your voice intonation, etc., was just perfect. And one thing which I personally feel is that like you pointed out that we get into bad habits and this and that I think is so relevant. And this sugar craving, that this is one thing which is very problematic, which people have a sweet tooth. I think that is one habit that needs to be worked
Yeah.
on. We I mean, like, that is something which India is facing. We are facing a diabetic like a
Yeah.
onslaught, and
First,
that
yes.
is, I think this book will work. If people apply this principle, maybe we could save a few people this way, from this disastrous
कुछ
disease.
मीठा
Thank
हो
you so
जाए.
much.
Yeah.
So they are actually misusing the, I mean, again, that is, so how do you, I mean, like, the messages from society are totally different. And if you go to any eatery and you tell them, listen, why don't you make diabetic friendly food? Or you go to even a marriage, they won't open the pandal for the food until it's about 11 o'clock or whatever, because they think guests will go away. Whereas, people who are suffering from this have to eat at time and timely manner, and, so all those things are there, in society, the pressures are different. So I think kahin na kahin wo jo meetha ho jaye, that has to be, moderated, I think. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Meetha is the reward. Most of the time, the meetha is the reward. Kuch occasion hai to the
Yes.
meetha is the reward actually. Many times.
Meetha is such a reward, ma'am, that we even call our children Mithu. Fine. In Punjab, I'm from Punjab, we actually say mithya, which means you are sweet, even sweetheart. Right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
sweet craving is added to everything.
With that one glass of lassi after every meal.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you, Mitali. Anybody else has any questions? Yes, Nandita ji.
I thoroughly enjoyed the session, and ending with Meetha, I think सबसे सुंदर चीज है मीठी company, and this platform is really a Meetha platform. And this is the habit we have to cultivate. I fail to participate because of my classes, but I am going to use my will to live and see that I can live better with such good company. That is the biggest habit we can cultivate, of having good company. Everything else follows. Everything else follows. So
Correct.
congratulations, wonderful discourse.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people today, they would be under that stress. Election का counting चल रहा है. So इसीलिए I guess some of them are not attending. बहुत धक-धक चल रहा है वहाँ पे. Second day of counting.
You can share some of the updates if you have to.
No. I am not.
She must
I
be
will
having.
stay away from that. Yes. But
Thank
all
you
the
so
best
much.
to you all and enjoy. Have a great day. With this,
Thank
we end
you.
the call. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Zeenat. Thank you, Dipali. Chalo, bye.